There are places no map will ever show you. Not made of stone or earth, but born of thoughts, emotions, and memories. Carl Jung, one of the most influential figures in modern psychology, didn't just warn us about enemies in the outside world. He spoke of internal terrains, hidden mental and emotional spaces, that can quietly erode the soul. These aren't just bad habits or personal flaws. They're psychological landscapes, states of mind where we lose clarity, dignity, and direction. Jung believed that suffering, when faced honestly, can lead to transformation. But he also recognized that some forms of suffering turn inward, becoming destructive. And from those places, no real growth comes. These are the 7 places the soul must never dwell, according to Carl Jung's psychological and philosophical teachings. 1. The house of denial. Where the shadow is rejected. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. In Jungian terms, the shadow is the part of ourselves we avoid. The anger, envy, fear, selfishness, unhealed trauma, even our suppressed talents and desires. It's not evil. It's just unknown. Denial isn't just ignoring the world around us, it's avoiding the parts of ourselves we're ashamed of. And when we deny our shadow, we don't escape it, we become ruled by it. We sabotage relationships, act out, project our flaws onto others, and repeat painful patterns, all without understanding why. Living in denial is like walking through a hall of mirrors. You see distorted versions of everyone but never see yourself clearly. You blame others for your pain, unaware that the root lies within you. Denial feels safe because facing the truth seems terrifying. But Jung believed that real power comes from confronting the shadow. Once we do, we're no longer its puppet. We stop chasing people who don't value us. We stop lashing out. We stop hiding behind masks. We become whole, not perfect, but real. Jung called this process individuation, the uniting of our conscious and unconscious self. It starts with the courage to admit you're not always kind, not always calm, and not always right. When you feel jealousy, ask yourself why. When rage appears, listen to it. Because once the shadow is seen, it no longer controls you. But if ignored, it waits, and eventually acts through you, often against you. Don't build your life in denial. Go into your inner basement. Dust off the hidden pieces. Not to shame them, but to understand them. That's when fate ends, and your true life begins. 2. The swamp of resentment. Where pain festers. Jung taught that conscious suffering can transform us. But pain that's buried or repeated without understanding becomes something darker, resentment. Resentment is pain that has turned poisonous. It's the story we replay, how we were betrayed, overlooked, mistreated. It thrives on repetition. And like a swamp, the longer we stay, the deeper we sink. Everything becomes heavy and stagnant. When we dwell here, we carry our wounds like identity. We start saying things like, "This always happens to me," or "They'll regret what they did." But that's not healing. It's hoping your pain will make them pay. The truth? Resentment never hurts the one who wronged you. It hurts you. It hardens your heart. It drains your ability to trust, to love without fear. You risk becoming the very thing you once despised. Jung warned that the shadow often hides in the belief that our pain makes us righteous, and therefore our anger is justified. But unexamined anger becomes a prison. Forgiveness, in Jung's view, isn't about excusing someone, it's about freeing yourself. It's declaring, "This happened. It hurt, but I won't let it control me anymore." Transforming pain means finding meaning in it. Discovering the strength or boundary it gave you. This is what Jung called the alchemy of the soul, turning emotional lead into gold. So if you're in that swamp, ask, am I feeding this pain, or freeing myself from it? Because the swamp always offers a place to rest. But don't confuse that stillness with peace. 3. The prison of guilt and shame. Where the self is condemned, there's a difference between guilt and shame. Guilt says, "I did something wrong." Shame says, "There's something wrong with me." Jung saw shame as especially dangerous, not because it screams, but because it whispers. It tells you you're unworthy, unlovable, broken. And people trapped in shame can seem perfectly fine on the outside. They work hard, smile, succeed. But inside, they feel like they don't deserve any of it. That's the cruel trick of shame. It disconnects you from your soul. It convinces you that you must become someone else to be loved. Jung didn't promote avoiding responsibility, but he warned against endless self-punishment. The psyche needs space to grow, and it cannot do that while locked in self-judgment. Staying in guilt beyond the lesson it teaches isn't noble, it's harmful. True remorse leads to learning, to change, to accountability. But shame? Persistent shame leads to paralysis. Jung asked us to challenge our inner critic. Whose voice is that? When did you start believing you're not enough? Often, shame is inherited, from childhood, religion, trauma, or comparison. But we carry it like law. You can begin letting it go, not by pretending the past didn't happen, but by refusing to let it define your worth. You are not your mistakes. Your past doesn't dictate your future. The soul wasn't made to live in punishment. Its true home is in healing, in growth, in freedom. To move forward, you must look in the mirror, not to criticize, but to offer kindness. As Jung taught, it's only by accepting our whole self, light and shadow, that we become truly whole. 4. The theater of persona. Where authenticity is abandoned. Jung introduced the idea of the persona, the social mask we wear to fit in. It's how we present ourselves to be liked, accepted, or protected. And while it helps us navigate society, dwelling in the persona means losing your true self. The theater of persona is where roles become identities. You start with a mask, then forget it's a mask. You smile when you want to cry. You agree while your spirit disagrees. You perform for approval, not to express truth. And slowly, piece by piece, your inner life fades. Your real desires, pain, creativity, and chaos get buried in the unconscious. You become an actor in someone else's play, reading lines you didn't write. Jung warned that the soul suffocates in pretense. The longer you act, the further you drift from yourself. Eventually, the performance exhausts you. You may feel numb, lost, hollow, because your inner life is begging to be seen. Authenticity isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. It's about daring to live in alignment with who you truly are, even if that means disappointing some expectations. Because no mask, no matter how polished, can replace the feeling of being whole. The soul is not meant to live in denial, resentment, shame, or performance. It is meant to grow, to awaken, and to become whole. As Carl Jung taught, your journey is not about becoming someone else, it's about remembering who you truly are. So if this message spoke to something deep within you, don't just reflect, begin. Begin the quiet, courageous work of healing. Of meeting your shadow. Of reclaiming your truth. And if you found value in this journey, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Trench, where philosophy meets healing, and every video brings you closer to your real self. Until next time, stay grounded, stay awakened.